Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the MAF Scotland Christmas Family Fun Night. Indeed, this is the very first MAF Scotland Family Fun Night, and you are all very welcome. And over the next hour or so, we hope you have a really fun time. Now, whether you're a supporter of MAF or perhaps this is the first ever connection that you've had with us, it's great to have you here tonight. And as you can see, we have all got our Christmas jumpers on, our Christmas headgear, and perhaps even a mince pie or a hot chocolate. I'm certainly prepared, and we hope you are dressed for the occasion as well. My name is Chris, and along with Heather, Andy, and Shona, we will be hosting this evening's festivities for you. We hope you're all feeling competitive and are up for taking part in our wee quiz later on. We will have something for all ages, so it will be a great time. And we'll also be showing you some videos, and we're also delighted that the Chief Executive of MAF UK, Ruth Whittaker, will be popping by and introducing an exciting new MAF initiative. But before we go any further, as is good practice at these online events, we do have some important housekeeping matters to let you know about. So first of all, if you can see me and if you can hear me, then congratulations. You have found your way to our live stream and it's working, which is great. We did hope that we would all be in the same room this evening presenting to you, but to keep us all safe in these strange times, we're broadcasting to you live from our own homes, set up in a different way this evening. And of course, we are praying that the technology works throughout the evening and that it is a slick performance all night. So you can see us, but unfortunately we can't see your wonderful faces, and nor can you see each other. However, we are all still here together. So if you have logged on to Facebook this evening and you have a Facebook account, or if you're watching via the YouTube channel and are logged in to your Google account, you will be able to send us messages in the comments, which is just below the video that you're watching. And we'd love you to do that throughout the evening. We'll see them as you type them, and we'll try our very best to interact with them throughout the evening. So the first thing you need to do is decide what your team name is going to be. Now, whether you're watching as a group, or whether you're watching with your family, or whether you're watching on your own, please do give yourself a name or use your own name, and let us know what it is in the comments. And during the quiz, after each round, we will trust you all to be honest. We're going to ask you to keep your own scores and type these into the comments so we can see how you're all getting on. We won't be adding these up for you, so you'll need to remember them. And at the end of the quiz, be able to tally up your final score. Now, there is a prize for the winning team, and here is the prize. This is the big prize. It's a copy of the book Above and Beyond. Now, this book was compiled this year as part of MAF's 75th anniversary celebrations, and it charts the journey that MAF have been on over the last 3/4 of a century. It's an absolutely fabulous book. There's loads and loads in it, and the photography in it is absolutely amazing. So really recommend this book. And if you are the winning team, you get a free copy of this. However, if you are unfortunate and you don't win the quiz this evening, I highly recommend that you get this book, and the link is on the screen there if you want to go and order your copy. And if you order now, delivery before Christmas, which is even better. Now, in between each section of the evening, we will show you a video, which will give you time to confer with your team and to calculate your scores, and also learn a little bit more about MAF along the way. Now, we did set you all a challenge as well this evening when we invited you along, and that was to don your best Christmas jumper or Christmas headgear. And later on, we're going to let you know how your efforts can help your score. So watch out for that. Now, as many of you know, 2020 is the 75th anniversary of MAF, and we were all geared up to celebrate with you. We had lots of events planned this year to come out and meet with you and celebrate the occasion with you. But alas, we were unable to go to those. But we didn't want the year to disappear without the chance to celebrate and say a huge thank you for all your support to MAF over the years. The story of MAF over the last 75 years has been absolutely incredible, as I'm sure you will agree. And to kick things off this evening, we want to show you a short film that captures a small piece of this, and it's called From the First Day Until Now. Enjoy. What a great film. We hope you enjoyed watching that, and it gave you a flavour of what the impact that MAF has had throughout the world, reaching those living in isolation over the last 75 years. Okay, without any further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Andy, who's going to get on with our quiz. Andy, good evening.
Good evening, Chris, and thanks for the intro. Good evening, folks. How are you doing? Incidentally, despite the grey beard. I haven't been here since the very beginning. It's about 20 odd years though. But I hope you've got your pencils or pens ready, a nice bit of paper, because it's quiz time. There is 1 point for every question. The first part of the quiz is all about MAF. The second part is, I think I know. A little wee red herring there to keep you going. So if you're ready, pencils poised, paper. So let's go. Question 1, all about MAF. What year did MAF open their first office in London? Now, we all know that MAF was born at the end of the Second World War, after years of conflict. But when was the office established after the war? Now, that's an easy one to start with. Well, I think so anyway. If you all have your answers, we are now going to move on to question number 2. Which country in which MAF serve has the longest name? Now, I've put the world map up there, or the globe up there, to give you some sort of an idea. The world's big, but what country has the longest name? The country with the most letters. Just imagine you could write this down in Scrabble. You would win in your first go. You thinking about it? I could give you a clue, but then again, maybe not. I'm a hard taskmaster. So now as you're thinking about that, I'm going to put a bit of pressure on you as we move on to question number 3. This is for all you wordsmiths out there. By what name is the 75th anniversary known as? Now, there is a wee clue here. It is not a wedding anniversary, okay? There is a separate name for a 75th wedding anniversary, but for a 75th jubilee or anniversary of this nature, it has a particular name. Now, I hope you haven't went to Google. I hope you don't have a dictionary sitting in front of you. You wouldn't cheat, would you? Because we're trusting you to keep your own scores tonight. What do you think the answer is? I could even give you the letter that it begins with, will I? I'll give everybody that clue. I think, if my memory serves me right, it begins with the letter P. P for Papa. Okay? Even more pressure now, because we're going to move on to question 4. Okay. Our first aircraft was a twin-engine Miles what? It was a Miles something. Okay? And it's not Air Miles, and it's not Happy Miles, it's a Miles something. A twin-engine Miles. What twin? Oh, maybe I've given you a clue here. Incidentally, the wee photograph there, that's not what our first aircraft looked like. Okay, have we got our answers written down? Okay, question 5. This is the last question about MAF. What is the capital city of South Sudan called? For those historians who know the history of MAF, Sudan was the first country of operation. That's where we established our first base, built our first runways, established our first office and compound. But what is the capital city of South Sudan called? Okay, now before we go on to the next set of questions, just a wee hint. Let the young folks answer that questions, these next questions. I'm sure that they'll recognise, because it's a picture round and it's items that have been taken from maybe somewhat stranger angles. But let's see, the next 5 questions, beginning with 6. What is this household item? Now, it'd be good if you could let the younger folks have a wee go at this. I know it'll probably grate, but you can let them try anyway. How are we doing with that? Remember, it's 1 point for every correct answer. Okay, question 7. Okay. Can you identify this bright fellow? I think we have many of these in our households, don't we? I mean, they're not heavy to carry. Ha! Another clue. And incidentally, if you've got your Christmas jumpers and Christmas hats on, there may be points to be won a little later. Okay, have we got the answer to question 7? Moving on to question number 8. As long as your memory doesn't fail you, this will be easy. Does anybody know what that is? It's just a portion taken from a different angle, should we say. But as long as your memory doesn't fail you, this will be easy. Maybe it's a wee bit cryptic, isn't it? And maybe for the younger ones, they've went beyond these. Okay, moving on to question number 9. You may not know what this is, but you will know its contents. So what it is you see in front of you. Do you think you've got the answer to that? Okay, the final question in this round. Now, can you identify what you see? Now, I know you're looking at this, but please don't pull any faces. It's something that's taken from a somewhat unusual angle. Now, listen, that's the first 10 questions. That's round 1, kind of down and behind us now. Before we go on to the answers, I want to introduce you to somebody who has been working for MAF for a good number of years now, based in Uganda. Him and his wife and his 3 young children are based just outside Kampala at our airfield at Kijansi. It's Andy and Heather Swanson. Andy and Heather Swanson are from Scotland. They're sending churches at Pitlochry Baptist in rural Perthshire. And he's out there as an aircraft engineer. And often we hear these wonderful, tremendous, exciting and dynamic, thrilling stories about where the pilots are going and what they're doing and what their cargo is. But airplanes don't just happen to take off. They need good quality maintenance. And this short video here will let you see what it's like to be an aircraft mechanic with MAF in Uganda. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
My name's Andy Swanson. I'm one of the engineers here with MAF in Uganda, and we're standing in our maintenance hangar here at Kijansi Airfield. We're quite a busy programme. We have 4 caravans that we operate from this base, and we have 2 206s, and we have this 182 diesel that have their maintenance carried out here. They operate all over East Africa, up into South Sudan and over into DRC. It's a really interesting blend of practical, hands-on, working with tools, and also thinking and analysing and troubleshooting and problem solving. So it's a really interesting job to be involved in. Obviously, aviation is a very safety critical industry, and so we want to make sure that our planes are maintained to the best possible standard for the safety of our passengers and our pilots. We operate in quite a difficult environment in Africa here, and so having avionics systems installed that are robust enough to deal with the situations that we put them through is very important, and so we play an important role in maintaining those and installing those systems. This plane that I'm standing beside just now was built in 1978, so it's just a little bit younger than me, and so it's because of good maintenance that it's still able to fly almost 40 years after it was first put together. I think the exciting thing about working in the maintenance hangar here is that all of the work that we do plays a part in all of the work that MAF Uganda do. The exciting medevac stories and evacuating people from South Sudan right before civil war kicks off, all of these exciting stories only happen because the whole team work together and you feel very much a part of a bigger picture.
What a fabulous video, isn't it? And it's nice to hear a voice from Africa that sounds familiar to those who are in Scotland tonight. I should mention, actually, we've got teams from all over the UK. We've actually got a team, and I have no idea where they're from, but they're called Liverpool. I'll let you figure out what that may be yourselves. But anyway, before we go any further tonight, I think we want to look at the answers. So if you've got your pen at the ready, we're going to fly through the answers before I hand over to Chris. Now remember, keep your scores. Remember to post them in the comments so that we can have an idea of who's winning. We will interact with the charts, with the scores on the chat. So moving on, question 1. What year did MAF open their first office in London? Well, strangely enough, 1945. An easy one to get you started, and I'm sure that everybody has now at least 1 point on the board. Question 2. The Democratic Republic of Congo. 28 letters. And if you'd listened to Andy Swanson in the video there, you would have heard him making reference to the planes that he repairs and maintains that fly up into the South Sudan and into the DRC. The DRC is, in fact, the Democratic Republic of Congo. 28 letters. Maybe not ever to get that one. Question 3. It's a Palladium Jubilee. It's the 75th anniversary. Now, I'm going to be honest here, I don't think anybody would have got that. But I'd love you to prove me wrong. Question 4. The first aircraft was a twin-engine Miles Gemini. And I think the twin was a wee clue there, as in Gemini. You all get that one? Question 5. The capital of South Sudan is Juba. Maybe not all 5 out of 5, but anyway, I'm sure you would do better in the next half of this quiz. In question 6, it's a cheese grater, or a carrot grater, or a vegetable grater, but it's a grater nonetheless. This is the greater one. I'm sure there's a lesser grater somewhere. Question 7, it's a low energy light bulb. That was a really easy one, but question 7, oh, there we go. It's a CD, a blank CD. And I'd suggested that maybe we'll let the younger folks answer that, but all these young folks are into memory sticks and downloads, so these are confined to the history books now, I'm sure. Question 9. I did give you a wee clue. A can of iron brew made in Scotland from girders. However, if you just put down a drinks can or a can, I think we could give you a point for that. And the final question, question 10 in this round. If you look at the end of a Christmas cracker, that's the view you get. So don't pull any faces when you pull the crackers. How did you do? 10 out of 10? 9? 8? 7? I don't know how you won. But anyway, let me hand back to Chris, and I will see you a little later on. Chris, over to you.
Thanks very much, Andy. Well, I'm glad I'm not taking part in the quiz because I don't think my score would have been very high after that. Hopefully you all did better, and it's great to see your scores all coming in the comments in the chat. And as Andy said, some interesting team names, which is great. So please do keep using the chat. We would love to interact with you on there because we can't see you on the screen. Okay, so we are now going to play a game that those of you of a certain age, now I include myself in that, so I'm included there. So yeah, if you're a certain age, you'll remember this, I'm sure, from Saturday evening television back in the 80s and 90s. Do any of you remember the Generation Game with Bruce Forsyth? Now, I always wanted to be on that show and take part, and I remember every Saturday evening sitting with my sister, who I think is watching this evening, so she'll enjoy this. We used to sit and watch, and we particularly loved the conveyor belt round at the end, where all the items would come along the conveyor belt, and the contestants had to remember what they saw and then repeat them back. And if they got them right, they got to keep the items. Well, I never got a chance to be on the show, unfortunately. So we thought, next best thing, let's play it tonight. So we're going to play the conveyor belt round. And we've given it a bit of an MAF twist for you. So here is Shona in her little Christmas corner to explain how to play. Have fun, everyone.
Life is the name of the game, and I want to play the game with you. Life can be terribly tame if you don't play the game with two. And I want to play the game with you.
Welcome to the Generation Game. I'm going to be showing you 20 randomly selected items. We're asking you to just remember them and not write down anything for now. After I've shown you all 20 items, you'll be given 60 seconds to write down as many as you can remember. Let's begin. The Lion Rampant flag. A kettle. An umbrella. A MAF collection tin. A hot water bottle. A polystyrene pen. A MAF hat. Hand sanitizer. A MAF coffee mug. A red wooden tortoise. A CD. Hope has wings. A sellotape dispenser. A MAF pen. Spiced butternut soup. Flying goggles. A sticky bug. A Christmas bauble. Steve, the MAF pilot. And a cuddly toy. Your 60 seconds begins now. Right, now we are going to have a look over all of the items that you were shown. You are going to get 1 mark for every item that you remembered, so make sure to tick off the ones that you remembered correctly. The cuddly toy. Spiced butternut soup. A sellotape dispenser. A sticky bug. Hope has wings. A polystyrene head. A kettle. A red wooden tortoise. An umbrella. A MAF pen. A MAF coffee mug. Hand sanitizer. A MAF collection box. Flying goggles. A CD. The Christmas bauble. A MAF cap. the hot water bottle. The lion ramping flag. And Steve the MAF pilot. Hope you managed to get all of them right. Make sure to keep a note of your score, and we'll hand back to Chris.
Thanks so much, Shona. I hope you all enjoyed that one. I certainly did. Brought back so many memories from Saturday evening television. So how many items did your team remember? Now, surely you remembered Steve, the MAF pilot. Steve actually lives in our store cupboard in the MAF office in Glasgow. So he was really happy to be let out this evening to join in. So remember, tally up your scores and put them in the comments so we can see how you're getting on. And as you're doing that, we're going to watch another video, this time from one of MAF's real life pilots, Stephen Biggs, who is out in our programme in Liberia. Now, in this video, watch out for the MAF plane that you'll see that is serving in Liberia. It has a special place in our hearts here in Scotland. It's called Caledonian Connection, or Scotty, as it's more affectionately known. And it was due to the generosity of many MAF supporters in Scotland that actually enabled that plane to come into service there. So its registration number as well reflects its Scottish roots. So have a look out for that as well. So here is Stephen Biggs with an update from Liberia.
Hi, my name's Stephen. I have the immense honour of being a pilot serving with MAF in Liberia. And it's really, really wonderful to speaking with you all today. Thank you so much. So today I was hoping to take you on a flight down to Harper, one of the places that we fly very regularly. But unfortunately, due to the ongoing coronavirus issues and issues with our civil aviation and gaining our permissions that we need, we're not able to fly today. So instead, I'm talking to you from the cockpit of our aircraft. This is our Cessna Caravan. We have one here in Liberia. The registration is Sierra Charlie Oscar. And it's wonderful to be able to fly this aeroplane around Liberia, where we're so needed and where people are so incredibly grateful for the work that we do.
Harper traffic 5 X-ray 0 Charlie Oscar joins crosswind runway 23 Harper. Harper traffic 5 X-ray 0 Charlie Oscar joins final runway 23 Harper.
Since the beginning of the coronavirus issues here in Liberia, MAF have been able to respond very quickly to getting out test kits, to doing medivacs, and to the other things that we'll be being able to do to assist the government with their response to the coronavirus. When it first occurred, one of the first flights that I did, the President actually called the Director of the Liberian Airport Authority, who then called us and asked us to do a flight out to a place called Zwedru. And I took some test kits out there, I took some doctors and some nurses out there to see whether the first case of coronavirus had entered the country in that remote area of Liberia. The road system across the country here in Liberia is really terrible. It's mostly dirt roads. There are some bitumen roads, but most of it is dirt. And it can take days and days for people to get anywhere. So NGOs, government organisations, church groups, mission groups, it takes them so long to get out to their projects or to get back home to their families, and that's where MAF come in. We are able to fly these people where it may take them days on the road. It just takes 40 minutes to an hour for us to fly them there. A Harper flight will take us 1 hour and 40 minutes and can take 2.5 days on the road.
At the moment, mission aviation, we're really the only way that you're able to get medication down there and other people transport, because otherwise there's days on the road, as you said, or not able to get through at all.
Right. No, I mean, we're incredibly lucky to have MAF as a partner. I really, before MAF was here, we were working with the UN, but now that the UN mission has pulled out, you know, there's no domestic airline, of course, that even, and we utilize the road as much as possible, but when it's impassable like it is now, it's just the only way is by air.
Right. Well, we love doing it. We're very happy to do it.
Very grateful.
Yeah, good.
This year in MAF, we're celebrating our 75th anniversary. It's so exciting to see where we've come from and how God has used us over those last 75 years. But we're looking forward as well. And particularly here in MAF, in Liberia and in West Africa, we're really looking forward to the next decade because we know it's one of growth. The need here is so immense. It's overwhelming at times. We're getting a brand new hangar, which we're going to show you shortly. We're getting a second caravan. We're having a work start in Guinea, which is going to be a MAF program, and an aircraft will be there shortly to begin that work. And we know that over the next decade, with the amount of need that is here, the work of MAF here in the west side of Africa is just so important, and it's so vital to the people here, to the NGOs that are working here, to be able to get their people out where they need to go, and to be able to reach the isolated, and to be able to bring hope to those that have no way of getting places, no way of getting the things that they need. And it's such an honour to be here serving right at the start of where MAF is doing something here in West Africa. So I'm standing in front of our Cessna caravan here in our hangar in Liberia, and I'm standing with one of my very good friends, Samuel. And Samuel is one of our workers here in MAF in Liberia. We have 4 international staff here in Liberia and between 5 and 6 local staff that work with us. Right. And why do you think, Samuel, MAF is important here in Liberia for the Liberian people?
MAF is very important to Liberians because MAF help our churches to get to the other side of the country, the other countries. We help government workers, they help our NGOs and other partners. So they are so good to Liberians. And we hope that MAF will live here and continue to help our people. Wonderful.
So now we're going to go and show you our new hangar. Do you want to go and do that now, Samuel?
Yeah, we can
Let's go.
do that.
Let's go. So we're now standing here in front of our hangar that's being built. It's very exciting. It's very noisy, as you can hear, because of the construction. But the hangar is going to have room for 2 aircraft, our 2 Cessna caravans here in the hangar floor. And then you can see all the offices up the top, and that's where the offices are going to be.
And below there is the office for maintenance, and up there is administrative office. Yeah, I believe up there where my office will be.
Very good. So the hangar here is so important for the work that we're doing in MAF. We need to have a place where we can house everything that we've got, our maintenance and our operations and the aircraft. So as you can see, the work is coming along nicely. We're hoping it'll be finished in the next few months. This aeroplane here is going to go down to Harper on Wednesday. It's a remote area that normally takes about 2 days to drive by vehicle. At the moment, during the wet season, it's simply impassable, and it's impossible for vehicles to get down there at all. It takes us about 1 hour and 40 minutes to fly there. On this aeroplane, there's going to be organisations like Partners in Health, GIZ, WHH, which is a German NGO. There's going to be missionary groups, there's going to be church groups. And we could not do any of this work without you. So we want to say thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your interest in Liberia and the people here and the work of God that's going on here. The work here is only going to get bigger. The needs are only going to increase. And so we could not do this without you. And thank you so much for your support. Talk to you again soon.
Excellent stuff there. Thanks to Stephen for sending us that update from Liberia. Now, since that video was made, the hangar that you saw in there that was under construction, we're happy to say has now been completed. And here are some photos of it coming up on the screen just now. So there's the new hangar. And there is the Caledonian Connection, Scotty. And you can see, as I said, the registration there of the plane reflects its Scottish connection. And there it is, taking centre stage in the new hangar. And there it is again with some of the MAF team in Liberia. And as Stephen said in the video there, it's just great to hear that despite the restrictions caused by coronavirus, that MAF have still been able to help so many people and so many organisations and NGOs in that part of West Africa. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next stage of the evening. Remember, as always, keep your comments coming in on the chat, and as the quiz progresses, please do keep putting your scores in. But it's time to hand back to Andy, and he's going to lead us in the next round of our quiz. Over to you, Andy.
Lovely, thanks, Chris. I remember the Caledonian Connection. I remember when we launched the project of fundraising in 1999. I remember being at Cumbernauld Airport in 2003, watching in the distance as this little dot became larger and larger. And I need to confess, there was a lump in my throat as that aircraft landed. But you know that 4 weeks later, I was in Uganda when it arrived there, on its way further south in Africa. But I remember speaking to somebody in the early days when we began raising funds for a caravan. And somebody says, well, surely it's aeroplanes you fly. What do you want with a caravan? Well, it's a Cessna Caravan, the workhorse of our fleet. Now, I hope you're keeping a tally of your scores. I hope you're posting them on our chat facility. Now, in this particular quiz, this is Christmas. It's all about Christmas. And some of the questions have more than one answer. You'll see what I mean as we go through. So there's a point for every answer. Okay, so there's lots of points to be had in this particular round. So again, pencil sharpened, paper at the ready, and let us kick off with the Christmas cracker questions, the quiz part 3. Question 1. This little lady has 7 small friends, but what are their names? And as I said, there's more than one answer here. There's 7 answers. So this one question is worth 7 points, and you'll get 1 point for every correct answer. Any in-house fighting yet? Can you agree or disagree on who the 7 are? Normally you can always get 6, but it's that elusive 7th one. How are we doing? We'll give you just a few more seconds. You doing fine? Are you happy to move on? Or is 1 or 2 people in your group getting grumpy? Well, no fighting. No fighting. How much, this is the second question, how much, according to the Office of National Statistics, does the average family spend on Christmas? It's a lot of money. Maybe too much. Let us focus on the reason for the season rather than digging deep into our pockets to spend. I'll give you a clue here. It's a 3-figure sum, okay? Is there some people here scoring out and rewriting? Okay, question 3. Which nation celebrates Christmas first in the world? Now, I need you to really imagine the international dateline here. It might not be the country you think, but I'll leave that with you. Which nation celebrates Christmas first in the world? Okay. How are we doing? Question 4. Which country gifts a Christmas tree for Trafalgar Square in London? This is something that's happened since just after the Second World War. But which country is it that generally gives this huge, huge Christmas tree to London every Christmas? Okay, so 1-word answer. Question 5. So here it is, Merry Christmas. I could sing it for you, but we might lose a lot of our competitors tonight. So here it is, Merry Christmas, the annual offering from Slade. But can you name the lead singer of Slade? It's a perennial Christmas favourite. Right from about the 3rd week in November, you hear it blasting out in supermarket tannoys, on the radio stations. And by the middle of December, we're sick to the back teeth hearing it. But what is the lead singer of Slade called? Moving on to question 6. To the nearest mile, how many chipolata sausages are eaten at Christmas? Huh? To the nearest mile, how many chipolata sausages are eaten at Christmas? I'll give you a clue. From here to somewhere not very close. Okay, question 7. A visit from Santa is only possible because of his reindeer. What are their names? And again, there's a point for every correct answer as you write down the names of Santa's reindeer. I'll give you a clue which one of the names is not. One of the reindeers is not called Olive. For years I sang. Have you worked it out yet? Olive, the other reindeer. No, Olive is not a name. But there's several to be written down here. What are the names of Santa's reindeer? Okay, moving swiftly on to question 8. The animated Christmas film The Snowman was written by whom? The Snowman was written by whom? Okay. You got that one? Are you all thinking of this snowman flying over George Square with a can of iron brew in his hand? Question number 9. In which film did Bing Crosby sing, "I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the one"? No, that's enough of that, isn't it? But we all know the song, and it was made famous in this film. But what is the film called? Come on, grannies and grandpas, if you're there tonight with part of your team, you'll know the answer. And Granny will still be going weak at the knees looking at this picture of Bing Crosby. Here's a question. What's the difference between Bing Crosby and Walt Disney? Well, it's easy. Bing sings and Walt Disney. Oh, and on that, let's move on to question 10. In the children's song, All I Want for Christmas, what is it? All I want for Christmas is what? How are we doing? I'll give you just a few more seconds in this before we hand over. And 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And your time is up. So how did you do? Remember to post your tally on the chat section so we can see who's winning. We have a clear winner at the moment, but I'm not telling you who it is. Okay. Anyway, before I disappear, I want to introduce you again to Heather. She's there somewhere. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Andy. Thank you.
Right. Over to you.
Thanks. Good evening and welcome, everybody. And I hope you're all enjoying yourself so far in this rather cold winter's evening. At least it is down in Ayrshire, where I'm from. So for this next part, I'm actually going to hand you over to Ruth Whitaker, who is MAF UK CEO. And she wants to take a few minutes to share with you about a truly inspirational man whose vision it was that all these years ago, 75 years ago, he set the wheels in motion to establish MAF. So over to you, Ruth. Thanks.
Good evening. It's great to spend a few minutes talking about Stuart, dear Stuart King, one of our founders who in 1945 joined and helped shape the fledgling organisation which became Mission Aviation Fellowship. In fact, he was the first person to fly to Africa with MAF on the tail of the aircraft. And look where MAF is in Africa today, in multiple countries. It was my privilege to know Stuart and to count myself a friend of Stuart's. But I know that many of you also met him. Stuart was a pioneer and he was very practical. He was a trained engineer, but he was also a visionary. He was always looking forward and he was a very humble man. He had great passion for people and he loved to hear their stories. Stuart would make a habit of going to what we call the pre-field orientation course for the overseas staff, and he would so enjoy meeting them, and they of course loved meeting him too. He would listen to their own stories, he would encourage them, and with a twinkle in his eye share their excitement that was ahead of them as they continued their life adventure with God and with MAF. Shortly after we started to tell people that Stuart had gone to the Lord in August, we found that many people sent us gifts in his memory, and so it seemed very appropriate to launch the Stuart King Tribute Fund. And it seemed fitting for that to be a fund that was really about the future, to support the next generation, so that the Stuart King Fund will train and equip people to fulfil their calling to serve with MAF. Stuart was always looking forward. He was always interested in people, and he was always interested in the future. Actually, Stuart called me on the telephone the day he went to be with the Lord. It was a Friday morning. He called me, and he wanted to know what was new, what was going on in MAF, and what I thought the future held. And on the Saturday morning, I woke to the news that he had gone. So although his voice was weak, I was just really aware that even at that point, he was still looking ahead. Obviously, aircraft and practical things are important and useful to MAF, but it is the people who are vital. Without technically capable engineers and pilots, without skilled and trained staff, we simply cannot operate. As many of you know, it's actually quite a challenge for people sometimes to acquire the needed skills. So the focus of this fund is to help support and equip and train new and existing mission staff with the practical aspects of technical training. If you'd like to give to this fund, we would be so appreciative. It is obviously in memory of a founder with a great future vision and a love of people. We look forward to being ready to invest in people's future and the future of the work and the mission of MAF. Thank you all so much for your support and your interest. God bless you.
Thank you, Ruth. A true inspiration for us all, and a real fitting way to commemorate a remarkable man. So, as Ruth says, if you would like to play a part in helping to establish and develop MAF over the next 75 years, then please consider giving a gift tonight to help us train up the next generation to support the work around the world, and to help carry that health, hope and healing into isolated communities throughout the globe. But for now, let's go back to Andy and let's see how you've all done in the Christmas round. Andy.
Well, I've been listening to one or two of the staff in my private chat, and they're awful glad they're not doing this quiz. Dearie me. But as we go through this quiz, remember, as I said, there are more than 1 point to be had for a few of the questions. So make sure and note that down. Now, the other thing as well is, see if you're wearing a Christmas hat or even a Christmas jumper. Award yourselves an extra point. How generous is that? Well, that's your Christmas gift from me to you. Okay, right, let's go and have a look at the answers. Remember, an extra point for your Christmas hat or Christmas jumper, and the Christmas cracker answers are: the 7 dwarfs are called Grumpy, Dopey Doc, Happy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Sleepy. Okay, Grumpy, Dopey, Doc, Happy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Sleepy. I really hope at least one person has got 7 out of 7. Okay, question 2. £727 is the spend of the average family in Christmas each and every year. Huge amounts of money. Question 3. Let's have a look at this. Tonga. Tonga is the first country in the world to celebrate Christmas, and an hour later, New Zealand, and I'm sure that a few folks themselves have put in New Zealand as the answer, but the correct answer is in fact Tonga. Okay, question number 4. Norway is the nation that gifts the Christmas tree for Trafalgar Square in London each year, so Norway is the answer for question 4. Looking at question 5, okay, Noddy Holder. I remember in the early 70s, oh, they were my favourite band. I won't tell you, I won't share any photographs of how I used to dress up then, but I used to think that I was Noddy Holder. Oh dear, That's a staggering and fearful thought. Anyway, Noddy Holder's the answer. Looking at question number 6. An incredible 1,000 miles of chipolata sausages are eaten at Christmas each year. Now, I need to add, that's not just in my household. That's throughout the UK, okay? Question number 7. The reindeer, Dasher, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and Rudolph. Now, I'm sure that folks will be debating and arguing, is this the right list, or is that not the right list? Trust me, I spoke to a man last week with a long white beard and a red and white hat, and he says it's Dasher, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and Rudolph with his red nose. So there's a possible 8 points up for grabs in question number 7. Looking at question number 8. Okay, question 8. Raymond Briggs is responsible for writing The Snowman. And I bet it was on the tip of everybody's tongue. And now that it's here, you'll be saying to yourself, yeah, I knew that's who it was, but I just couldn't remember. Question number 9. Okay, Holiday Inn is the film in which Bing Crosby sang I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. Okay, how many folks get that one? It's not just a hotel. And finally, in the Christmas question round, all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. And that's so you can eat all the chocolates and biscuits and cakes and whatever else that you'll find in your Christmas stocking. Okay, how are we doing? Have you got all that? Well, the quiz is great fun, but it's very taxing in the old mind, isn't it? And I don't know about you, but it gets to that time of night, and do you know something? I'm just needing a bedtime story. But this is a bedtime story with a difference. I'm going to introduce you to Shona, and Shona's going to share with you her bedtime story. But please pay very careful attention and don't go to sleep just yet. Let's settle back and listen to her bedtime story.
Welcome back to my Christmas corner. The snow is falling outside and it's bedtime. So let's read this story. Make sure to listen carefully as you'll get to win extra points for your team. Mr. Forgetful had forgotten to buy a Christmas tree. Can you imagine? No Christmas tree? Where would Father Christmas put the Christmas presents? Normally, Mr. Happy helps Mr. Forgetful to buy his tree, but this year, Mr. Happy had gone away for Christmas. And now it was too late. All the Christmas trees had been sold. Everyone else had a tree. Mr. Greedy had bought his tree. Mr. Skinny had bought his tree. Mr. Mean had bought his tree. And Mr. Nonsense had bought 6, just in case he ran out. What nonsense! Even little Miss Late had a tree, although she had only got the very last one left. Mr. Forgetful realised that he had no choice but to go into the forest and cut down his own tree. So he set off through the snow. Mr. Forgetful walked and walked and walked some more, but he could not find the perfect tree he was looking for. They were too twisted, or too spindly, or too big. That won't fit in my living room, muttered Mr. Forgetful. After much searching, he finally found a tree that was just right. and it was then he realised he had forgotten his saw. Bother, he said to himself, I'll have to go back for it. And it was then he realised that he had forgotten the way home. Poor Mr. Forgetful. As he wandered through the forest trying to find his way home, he came upon some footprints in the snow. These must be my footprints, he guessed, and if I follow them, they should lead me back home. But being the forgetful fellow he is, he forgot to follow them backwards and followed them forwards, back to the Christmas tree he had found. Mr. Forgetful was now in a terrible muddle, as I'm sure you are. I know I am. And he was cold, and it was getting dark. So he climbed a tree to see if he could see his house. But all he could see were trees, and more trees. In desperation, he cried for help. Help! And as luck would have it, help was at hand. Help in the form of Father Christmas, who was flying over the forest in his sleigh at that very moment. I was just on my way to deliver your present to your house, said Father Christmas. Would you like a lift? By the way, asked Father Christmas, once they had arrived, what were you doing up a tree in the middle of a forest on Christmas Eve? You know what, said Mr. Forgetful, I can't remember. Now, where shall I put this? Asked Father Christmas, pulling a parcel out of his sack, a Christmas tree-shaped parcel. Well, I never, said Mr. Forgetful, suddenly remembering, you are a marvel, which just goes to show that Father Christmas really does know what everyone wants for Christmas, even if they'd forgotten it themselves. Hope you were listening carefully. Now it's time for questions. Who had left a note on Mr. Forgetful's fridge? What two colours were on the parcel that Father Christmas was holding? What was Mr. Happy doing on holiday? Name the other Mr. Men and Little Miss who had bought their Christmas trees. How many trees had Mr. Nonsense bought? What had Mr. Forgetful forgotten to take with him into the forest? What did Mr. Forgetful try to follow to find his way home? How many reindeer did Santa have on his sleigh? What colours were the bow on Mr. Forgetful's present? And this is the last question. What does Father Christmas know? Hope you got all the answers. We're going to go through the answers now, so good luck. Question number 1 was who had left a note on Mr. Forgetful's fridge? And the answer is Mr. Happy. Question 2, and you need to get both colours for this point. What 2 colours were on the parcel that Father Christmas was holding? The answer is green and yellow. Question 3, what was Mr. Happy doing on holiday? And the answer is skiing. For this question number 4, you'd need to list all of the people who bought their trees for the point. Name the other Mr. Men and Little Miss who had bought their Christmas trees. And they are Mr. Greedy, Mr. Skinny, Mr. Mean, Mr. Nonsense, and Little Miss Late. Question 5. How many trees had Mr. Nonsense bought? And the answer is 6. Question 6. What had Mr. Forgetful forgotten to take with him into the forest? And the answer is his saw. Question 7. What did Mr. Forgetful try to follow to find his way home? And the answer is his footprints. Question 8. How many reindeer did Santa have on his sleigh? And the answer is 2. Question 9. What colours were on the bow on Mr. Forgetful's presents? You need to list both colours, and the answers are red and yellow. And for the final question, what does Father Christmas know? He knows what everyone wants for Christmas. Well, that's it for story time. We hope you had a great time, and we'll hand back to Heather.
Thank you, Shona, and I'm sure all your little ones are nearly ready for sleeping, hopefully. I know I am. I believe I've been told that you've got the next 30 seconds or so to get all your final scores into the chat, and to remember to add your bonus scores to this if you're wearing a Christmas jumper or a hat, and we will be announcing the winning team very, very shortly. But sadly, our evening is nearly over. But I hope you've all had fun and there's not been too many family fallouts along the way. Or maybe that's just my family when it comes to playing team games. But I do hope you have enjoyed yourselves. And I want to thank you all on behalf of MAF Scotland for supporting us, not just by coming along tonight, but for the faithful support that many of you have shown over the years. Our supporters are truly amazing and have stood with us faithfully in prayer, financial giving and volunteering for the last 75 years. And I can safely say that we would not be here tonight if it wasn't for your generosity. And for those who have maybe only heard about MAF for the first time tonight, I say welcome on board. Supporting MAF is a truly rewarding experience. So come and join us on a journey of a lifetime and see lives transformed physically, emotionally and spiritually. I also want to say a very big thanks to the MAF Scotland team for putting this all together tonight. They are an incredibly hardworking, passionate bunch where no task is ever too big for them. But without further ado, let's get on and announce tonight's winning team. If we have all the scores in, can maybe somebody tell me if all the scores are in? Are we nearly there yet? Chris? Just waiting. I think there's still a few scores coming in. Oh, I think we have a winner now. Yep. Okay, so we have with 50 points. Wow, well done. We have the McKenna family. So well done, the McKennas. That's a fantastic score tonight. What I will ask you to do is if you could stay online just after we finish, just so we can make sure we've got all your details so we can send you out that fabulous prize of the 75th book that Chris showed us earlier. But the last thing I want to do before I hand you back over to Andy for the closing prayer is just to wish you all from the MAF Scotland team a very happy and blessed Christmas and a prosperous new year ahead. And let's hope this year has not been particularly bright for a lot of people. It's been very challenging. So we hope and pray that next year is a lot brighter. So thank you all for coming. And I want to hand you back over to Andy now. Thanks, Andy.
That's great. Thanks, Heather. We've actually got a draw tonight. It's not just the McKennas with 50 points. The Telfors have also got 50 points. So well done to both teams tonight. But I really do hope that you've enjoyed yourself tonight. You've been blessed, encouraged, and maybe found out something more about MAF. But just before we finish and we come back as a team, I thought it would be nice if we could pray together. And if you want to read along in either in your hearts or out loud, just before our bed, it is time for us to pray together. Let's pray. Dear Lord Jesus, as we all approach the time of your birth, we want to thank you. Thank you for coming as a babe in a manger. Thank you that you loved us all so much that you left your Father in heaven to come to save us. We thank you that we can speak to you all the time, and we ask that you help all the people in the world, those who have no home, no education, no access to clean water or regular meals. We are so thankful that we have MAF to help, to provide all that they need, but especially the opportunity to tell them about Jesus. We thank you that we have all had fun tonight, and that through that fun, we can continue to help others. But Lord Jesus, above all, we want to thank you for who you are and for what you do. Please give us all a good night's sleep, and as Christmas approaches, help us to think of others before ourselves. Amen. Amen. I'm just going to invite the rest of the team to come back and join us, and I'm sure with the best royal hand waving, we will all bid you all a very good night. We want to wish you all a tremendously joyful and peaceful Christmas as we celebrate the birth of our Saviour, and as we go into 2021, we pray that it will be a year full of opportunities, full of abundance, and full of the Lord Jesus Christ in each of your lives. So until we all see you again, may the Lord bless you and keep you. Bye-bye just now. And thanks for watching.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Well, it looks like we're getting paid overtime. Somebody's forgot to press the button. There we go. Welcome back, Shona. Shona's picking up the overtime bill tonight. And she's going to pay us all in strawberry tarts and mince pies. Welcome back, Shona. Do you want to say goodnight to the folks?
Thanks so much, everyone. It was great having you all.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Have a good Christmas.
This is interesting.